Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Beth
and Brian.
So we've got a news roundup and fun and games episode. Lots of fun and exciting things going on here. So let's dive into our news. To start it off, we have some extended hours at the theme parks. This is more time sensitive than our news usually is, but as of the time we're recording this, the 18th, Epcot has extended hours to 11 p.m. on Saturday, which is kind of unusual considering how early it's been closing.
I hope it stays.
Have they announced, is this just a this Saturday thing, or is this when they're planning on closing from now on?
I have no idea. It looks like it was just kind of extended.
Because that's kind of late for pre-COVID Epcot even.
Yeah.
That's like extra magic hours Epcot, which is bizarre. I'm thinking they're expecting it to be busy because like I was trying to look at theme park reservations for March, and the hours are back to normal, like normal being like COVID hours normal.
They could always change it though before, like, they have a habit of changing it a couple of weeks before and just being like, hey, we extended it.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess now is a couple of weeks before your trip, isn't it?
It's still a month out, so.
Oh, okay.
Decently
so maybe,
long enough, yeah.
There's still time.
Who knows? But it's interesting that they've extended this one day. Do we think it's gonna stick? I know we hope it's gonna stick, but
maybe they're testing to see how many people stick around and if it's worth them being open.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, this is definitely them testing the waters right now.
The one thing I am a little upset about, and this is so like first world problem, is we bought our tickets for our trip already, and I decided I wasn't doing park hopper tickets because the whole like hopping before 2 p.m. and like parks only being open for 5 hours after that. I was like, well, this is kind of a waste of money. Mm-hmm. But like if the parks are going to start being open later, that kind of reverses my fear of park hopping not being worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it turns out that they extend the hours for you, during your trip, you could always add it on.
That's true. That's what I was thinking. But I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be okay not park hopping this trip because even if they do, I feel like it's looking like they're only going to extend it on weekends anyway. And I don't know. I don't generally like weekends in the parks because they're a lot busier.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Again, first world problems. So next news topic we have up here is that the park pass system, the reservation system that Disney's been doing, it looks like it's going to be extending through 2023.
Boo!
Yeah.
I hate it.
I certainly don't like this, but I completely understand why Disney's doing it. Like,
I get it too, but I don't have to be happy about it.
I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. I feel like it's easier now to tell if your trip is going to be crowded because Disney's kind of using this system to let you know like what parks have availability, and that's kind of nice. Like, seeing that the parks have a lot of availability a couple weeks out from a trip and thinking like, okay, well, that means that they haven't gone through all their reservations. I don't have to worry. Or even like just looking at the reservation calendar to see like that there's a period of time that Disney actually has gone through their reservations is kind of nice,
Yeah, But I will say now it's time for my first world problem, is that as a pass holder, this kind of takes away the spontaneous nature of how I would normally go to the parks, which I don't like.
I agree with that. It's interesting, to say the least. I feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword because, I don't know, like you said, if you're a pass holder and you're going, or you have the option to go frequently, it kind of stinks because you really can't. But
yeah, and I will say the one benefit is that you don't have to worry about a park being at capacity during, like, if you go, you know, during a busy time of year, like around Christmas. You don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to get into Magic Kingdom if you show up late, like you would in the past. But like Brian was saying, as a pass holder, it's frustrating because I like to be spontaneous and I don't want to have to plan which parks I'm going to, like, specifically. Or, you know, if I plan to go to Epcot one day and then I end up waking up earlier and I want to go to a different park, but I can't get a reservation for it, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's frustrating.
Yeah, and it's not so much for me this decision in a vacuum, but, you know, it's just this coupled with the fact that, you know, hotel guests get advanced fast pass selection over pass holders too, and everything. Kind of just like, I mean, I know this is a very cynical look, but it's kind of just one more thing that's chipping away a little bit of you know, the value of a pass. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I still don't think it's at the point where I wouldn't be a pass holder if COVID wasn't going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I'm intrigued and I want to know how long they're planning on holding this through, because the statement was that it's quote unquote here to stay. And I know we've heard that a lot through talks about the reservation system. So I'm wondering if this is just a system that's kind of like stuck because it's actually worked for Disney.
Yeah, I mean, you know, until it's something that is turning guests away, I don't think Disney's going to take it away. You know, nobody looks at this and hates it enough to not go to the park. So if it works for Disney and it's not driving customers away, they're going to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. And I think my hope is that this park reservation system thing will change as time goes on. Like, I know I was just complaining about the park hopping options and everything, but I feel like if you're only reserving the park that you're starting your day in, that's not horrible. Like, if they give you the option to hop to a park that's got capacity midday and, like, you can kind of do that on a whim, that's not the worst thing. Because then that would still kind of open up, like, for pass holders, if you want to spontaneously take a midday trip, okay, well, this park has, you know, it's not at capacity, we're allowed to enter here. That's not the worst. But, yeah, that's all I have to say on that, because I don't know how I feel about the reservation system otherwise. Like, just looking at it for my next trip, I'm just, it feels so different planning a trip during COVID, and I know that that's kind of like the point. Anyway, our next news topic on here is that I don't think we've talked about this at all, but the Leave a Legacy walls have come back. I guess you could call them that now. But they're different. They're not the tombstone look that we saw before at Epcot, where they were blocking that gorgeous view of Spaceship Earth. Instead, they've transformed into walls just outside of the monorail ramp, and they're actually pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I like them.
I really like them. They look so much better.
Yeah.
So much better. It doesn't look like a
fits
war
in with-
memorial anymore.
Yeah, it fits in. It's brightly colored. It looks more like Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is, that's all they had to do to them was like put colors on
Color them.
But they look so good now, and they,
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, like, I feel like I'm the first to complain about construction walls and everything, and this could very easily be a construction wall. but it's pretty and I like it and I'm happy that they're back.
Yeah.
I'm more
I just
so
wish I had a picture on it now.
I mean, at least you weren't stuck in the limbo of like what's gonna happen to my picture now that they're moving because I feel like they didn't say anything about it until they went back up. I thought you were
On
just
that note, can you get new ones now?
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like the demand would be too high.
I mean,
I guess you could price
feel like
it
Disney-
appropriately.
Yeah. I was about to say, when does Disney turn away fans that want to give them money for something high demand?
Yeah, that's fair. But I guess in the future they could build more of those walls. It's not a
Epcot's
terrible
just gonna
idea.
become the wall park.
Yeah. All the other parks have a wall to take pictures in front of. This could be Epcot's.
I feel like that still would make it look like a war memorial. I'm sorry. They look nice from a distance because the combination of like the colors and everything looks, nice. But I feel like up close, if you were to see someone on Instagram taking a selfie, it's like 2 steps away from being a World War II memorial.
Yeah.
So this one's kind of interesting. Disney's filed construction permits for live show venues, including Fantasmic. Looks like all of them are in Hollywood studios. So it's Fantasmic, Theater of the Stars, and the Epic Stunt Show Theater. Any thoughts on what this could mean? Because, Disney files permits all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even come to, fruition, but...
It's probably just like making sure all of the stuff works, right? So that if they can bring back shows anytime soon, they don't have to, they can do it promptly because they've already had it all checked out.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Didn't they just recently drain Fantasmic and then refill it? So why would they go through all that if they were going to change it significantly?
That's a good point.
Also, they better not touch Fantasmic or else.
I would be fine if they gave it a major refurb. I know that that's so controversial, but it really needs some love.
Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you completely there. If they want to refurbish it and fix some of the effects, maybe even add a couple change a couple of segments, replace this with that kind of thing, that's fine. As long as they keep the overarching theme and the song, I'm okay with it.
They can't get rid of the Fantasmic song. That's
That's one of the best songs that has ever come from a Disney thing ever.
Yeah,
that song makes me emotional.
I feel like they go ahead.
Oh, I don't think they would ever update it. If they decided that they wanted something different, I think they would just do a new show.
Silence, because that hurts everyone to the core.
Ryan, they don't have to do a new show. They could just change Pocahontas scene for something more recent, or change the princesses on the floats to newer princesses or something.
But would it be Fantasmic at that point, Beth?
I think it still could, but I don't know, man. I just love it so much, and I don't want it to go away. I'm gonna will it into existence that Fantasmic is untouchable.
I think there's sections that they can cut, and I think it's designed for that. What's funny though is I don't think it was ever I think they considered that when they created the show, that there were going to be movies they could probably rotate in and out, and it very much feels like that was the thought, because the Pocahontas section literally just slaps you in the face. But outside of that, they've never really touched it. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a very weird place. I feel like at this point, if they had cycled that movie in and out, or if they changed it and put something else, it would be easier to see. But I kind of agree with Brian. I think if
they could give us Disneyland's version for a little while, just
Yeah.
a little fun change that's still essentially the same show at heart.
Yeah. I'm also loving all of these aerial photos of Fantasmic that have come out recently. Because I'm just a sucker for overhead views of Disney things because I see things I shouldn't be seeing.
I'm literally on Google Earth right now.
Here you go. There's a Twitter account, BioReconstruct. Mm-hmm. And he posts overhead flyovers of like literally everything in Orlando. I'm going to send you the
I just can't stop thinking about looking at this riverboat and thinking about the bagging of the fish. I don't think I'll ever be able to watch Fantasmic again and not think about that.
It's crazy.
Was that confirmed to be true?
Yeah,
I
no,
want
there
to
is
believe.
video footage of it happening.
Oh, I never saw the video. I just saw the text post.
I'll have to find it. Should we explain for anybody listening who has no idea what we're
Yes.
talking
Yeah, go
about?
ahead. I'll find the video while you do that.
All right, so basically, if you've ever seen Fantasmic, spoiler alert, at the end, there's this big riverboat that has all these different Disney characters that come out and they wave little flags or ribbon dancer type of things. And it's really cute. And it starts to go around the little lake. And as it's starting to round the corner, all of the characters have to run inside the riverboat because they're close enough to the fireworks that when the fireworks go off shortly after the riverboat sequence, the sparks could land on them and injure them. So they just all run inside. But because Ariel is Mermaid Ariel on the boat, she can't get up and run inside. And so what they do instead is have Prince Eric bring this fireproof bag out and pull it over the cast member playing Ariel as the fireworks go off. And then he puts the bag on her and then he runs inside and then the fireworks go off. And she actually gets hazard pay for this as well, I found out.
Yes.
I want to know how OSHA ever approved this.
No, man.
I like to think of it as Disney didn't quite think this through, and then they realized, oh crap, how is Ariel going to get off the boat?
Right.
Yeah, there's no way. You can't tell me that there's not a way for them to have rigged up some kind of like mobile chair or even like designed the costume in such a way that she could pop her feet out, to run in
Yeah,
or
or
something.
just like have Prince Eric wheel her away.
Yeah, or pick her up and carry her. Like,
Oh my god, this video is priceless though. When you hit like it's like 20 seconds, you just see her sitting there in the bag.
My favorite part of this is that like all of the posts are just like Eric's like, yeah, good luck. He just leaves her on the boat.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe that the world knew about this as long as it did and nobody told me until recently. Incredible.
it's so perfect because the lights go out and then they come back on and it's just like bagged Ariel.
Yep. Love it.
Oh man.
So good. Now that we've deviated very far away from our topic or our news here, let's talk about the next one, the Raya and the Last Dragon, which is actually coming to Disney Plus incredibly soon. I didn't quite realize that it was next month. There's gonna there's gonna be some new offerings at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Although some of it is kind of what you'd expect. It looks like we're getting the animation experience at Conservation Station, in which you'll be able to learn how to draw the characters from the new movie. You're also going to get the there's like a sand sculpture thing that they're going to be doing at the Discovery Island stage, which is going to be interesting. I did not sell that at all, but yeah.
That sounds pretty cool. I like that as a concept of like seeing the artist like working on it and stuff.
Yeah. Do more little things like this. The animation experience, I feel like, is at this point is kind of overdone. They do it with like every movie that comes out. So when I see,
they're so much fun.
They're so fun.
they are fun. They are fun. But when I see them on like posts that are saying new thing coming to Disney, and it's just a new animation experience. I'm like, okay, well, that's not really that new. But
New characters, Mario. Let us feel like artists for a second, please.
maybe I'm just like salty. I'm not good at drawing them.
Do you follow the instructions, Mario?
Yes, and they still
Yeah,
don't
they
turn
kind
out
of
the
tell
way.
you how to do it.
Yeah. I'm not a good artist, but I always come out of those classes feeling like, wow, I could do this. I could be an animator. I'm so good at this.
There's a couple of them on YouTube that you can do from home. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that. But
Oh my gosh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I would be even better at that because then I could pause instead of having to frantically try and get to this next step.
let me see if I can find them. They did a whole bunch of, like, they did a series of them because I guess during the pandemic people wanted to learn how to do them from home.
That's fun.
Oh no, they've been doing them for years. Wow.
Cool.
Anyway, I'll send that link to the chat, and you guys can do some drawing at home if you really want to. There you go. It's a whole playlist. There's about 44 of them.
Wow.
You
How
can
about
learn how to-
that?
You can learn how to draw the castle too. That's in here. Some of them look incredibly complicated, and I'm not.
I was about to say, I don't think I'll be trying to draw any of the human characters.
Look, they have the voice of Olaf. Josh Gad learns how to draw Olaf.
They let him out of the basement for that.
Well, new offerings and old YouTube videos aside, we have some interesting updates about 2022 trip planning. It looks like Disney is not offering the dining plan continuing through 2022, which should not be surprising because they haven't offered it pretty much at all. This affects absolutely no one on this podcast
No.
besides me.
Well, what's your feelings on it, Mario?
I don't really know.
Are you stressed because now you don't have set budget for your food and you have to actually like figure out what to eat now?
I mean, I'm not really so much concerned about it on this trip because I feel like the problem is I know going into this trip that it's not going to be the same as every other trip I've taken. Like, I'm not trying to expect this to be anything besides like, we're going to Disney, we're going to do like kind of a very minimalist Disney trip because nothing is really the way it is in my mind. And even like dining, we were talking about it the other day. A lot of the places we would want to go aren't really open right now, so we're probably just going to end up eating a lot of quick service because, you know, I'm not really wanting to sit down in a restaurant at Disney anyway. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that feels like what I'm expecting of this. And if the parks kind of stay the way that they're expected to be through 2023, then I don't see this coming back for the next like 2 years. So I'm not really upset about it. I feel like it could come back. Will it come back? Maybe. Who knows? That's the big question I think I have right now is like, is it permanently gone or is it gone because pandemic?
I think they're going to bring it back, and I'll tell you why. Because people sign up for that dining plan having no idea that they're not going to be able to eat as much food as it actually offers. And so I feel like
Yep.
Disney probably like makes a lot of money on that because people don't end up using all of their credits.
And Disney wouldn't offer it if that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that I think is a big plus for it too, that's going to definitely make it come back, is the fact that free dining is like their biggest promotion. And I know Brian and I talked about it when we talked about the Disney discounts and everything. Free dining doesn't actually save you any money, so it's that Disney's not
It's
gonna.
the illusion of free.
Right. It's
the JCPenney discount.
well, for if anybody didn't listen to that episode and you know you don't want to go back through the like hour and a half of me basically doing the Pepe Sylvia meme on which Disney discount is the best. the way that they do free dining is you pay rack rate for a room, so you pay the full price for your room, but you get the dining plan for free. Now, if you were to take advantage of the other deals that they run at the same time, which is usually about a 20% room discount, you actually make out even better, but most people see the word free and just jump on that deal.
Yep. So do your math, people.
Yeah.
Or just listen to Mario because he already did it for you.
That was, yeah.
Unless you plan on eating an exorbitant amount of food, don't ever consider the Disney dining plan, probably.
I mean, you would have to really do, like, signature dining a lot. And I'm just not about that.
You just go to Ohana every night.
Well, here's, I mean,
You
that's
come
the
back
thing that,
12 pounds heavier than you did before.
that's the thing that I've always said about dining plan is, like, yeah, it's not always worth it, but, like, for me, when I don't have to think about, you know, price of food and everything for some of the higher end restaurants, like, I, you know, if I did want to eat Ohana twice in a trip, like, that's already a lot of money, but it's already paid for in my mind, or the illusion of paid for in my mind. I'm not the kind of person that feels like I have to squeeze every penny out of it, so
Disney gets enough of my money. I'm not giving them any extra, is my concept. Also, the fact that I couldn't even eat Ohana. Like, I couldn't even hardly eat one Ohana meal. Like,
I could eat
I
two.
definitely couldn't. I would never want to eat Ohana more than once per trip. And honestly, probably once every, like, 5 trips. I think I'm good with Ohana.
I mean, I love Ohana, but honestly, by the time the actual entrees get there, I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, right.
And that didn't even get started on the bread pudding at the end. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, it's a lot of food.
I just wanted to sleep the next day.
You guys really want to hear a first world problem? So we were looking at our trip, and for whatever reason, you know, we talk about Disney like every week, and it did not dawn on me that Ohana was closed. And we were talking about it, and Andy was like, "Oh yeah, you know, we could go there," and I was like, "Oh, we can't." And then I thought about it, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if because Ohana is closed, if they're not doing the room service for Ohana, because you can get it delivered to your room and not have to actually go to the restaurant." Mm-hmm. They're not doing that either, and that was probably more upsetting than Ohana actually being closed.
I didn't know they did room service.
They do. It's actually, let's see if I can find it. It's called the Twilight Feast.
Oh boy, you probably shouldn't have told me that.
Brian's staying exclusively at the Poly now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the best part of it is it's like the whole meal delivered to your room. I'm going to send it. Disney Food Blog did a write-up on it, too.
Is it unlimited, though?
I don't think so.
Because
However,
if that would be dangerous, because then I would just go and get like a bunch of Tupperware and be like, yeah, can you bring me another plate of this? And just dump it in the Tupperware and just keep asking. And then I just go home and have Ohana for like a week.
No, the dude just stands in there in your room with the giant shrimp skewer and just pulls them off as you ask.
Oh, man. That would be a cool, like, little splurge, though, to do the Twilight Feast.
It's not even that expensive. One of them is only $60, which is like, you could easily split that.
But will they let you is the question.
What are they going to do? Tell you that you can't have...
Tell you that, no, only one person can eat this. The guy with the shrimp skewer stands there, not only just to give you shrimp, but to make sure only one person eats it.
Oh...
I feel like they would charge you based on how many people are in the room.
Well, I feel like
You
portion
just have
size-
everybody hide in the bathroom until they leave.
I feel
Just
like
slide the shrimp under the door.
just when you open the door, oh no, there's only one of me. You can just leave it there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, man.
But it would be a cool splurge, and I was like, we were talking about it. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're not doing that because, you know, the kitchen's closed because of COVID and everything.
You can still get the bread pudding at Kona Cafe, I think.
There's a couple places that you can get like the pieces of it around. I think Kona Cafe has most of them, don't they?
You could DIY Ohana.
Get the best parts of Ohana.
There you go.
The only one I think you can't is probably the noodles, which, like, that's one of the best parts.
It certainly is.
Now I'm getting hungry.
I was about to say, let's move on. I'm getting hungry.
All right. So for this week's topic, we have a couple games. Did you guys want to try to do both of them? I mean, we have like a half hour left, so we could probably easily squeeze in a couple rounds of both of these.
Sure.
Okay. So the first one was suggested to us by our listener, Matt. He was on our game night episode, and he suggested that we do this percentage game. It's basically like a thought exercise is how he worded it, where you make a prediction on percentages of different things that you think will happen. So like for Disney, the example he gave was, I'm 95% sure that Space Mountain will exist in like 5 years, or 25% sure that there will be a fifth gate. I think maybe we should, for the sake of trying to narrow it down and for our brains, do percentages of by the next 5 years, maybe, or 10 years. Or do we want to do like our whole lifetime?
Let's do like, I think maybe 10 or 15 years.
Okay. Let's do by the 60th anniversary.
Okay.
That's fair, because that's 10 years, and then... Okay. So
are we going to do like, I put a couple of little examples here where you have 25, 50, and 95%, and you can only assign one of those percentages to each thing?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. So, like the examples that you have in here are 3 different things, and you have to assign 95%, 50%, or 25% to one of each, right? That's
Right.
what you're... Okay. Okay. So based off of the 3 that we have in here, we have in the next 10 years, the first one that you have is Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, and Expedition Everest will be in the park relatively unchanged. So then, like, we would say, I think Space Mountain is a 25% chance that it'll probably still be in the parks, relatively unchanged. Expedition Everest is 95 and Big Thunder Mountain is 50, right?
Is that what you're going with? Or
Yeah,
are you just
that's
saying that
my-
as an example.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Space Mountain needs some kind of refurb because those cars kill me. Big Thunder Mountain, I'm a little hard on, like, if it will change or won't change, but I feel like Expedition Everest will change in some capacity. I feel like we'll get the Yeti
Interesting.
back, maybe. Wishful thinking.
You mean A-mode Yeti?
Yeah.
Because we got the Yeti. He just don't do anything.
He just doesn't do anything. I mean, you're not wrong.
Man, this is actually kind of a struggle. I want to say for me that I would say 95% for Expedition Everest. That it's going to be at the parks relatively unchanged. I don't foresee them actually. You know, the park's already been around for what 27 years? Something like that. And they hadn't done anything with the Yeti since it broke down. And then I'm going to say 50% for Space Mountain and 25% for Big Thunder. Is that what you said? I can't remember now.
25, 50, and then 95 for Expedition Everest, I think. Or no, I don't actually even remember what I said.
This is a hard one.
This is a hard one, and I feel like if I were to think on it more, I would change my answer.
I know. I went back and forth a couple of times in my head.
What about you, Brian? Do you have a percentage for this one?
I'm 95% sure on Expedition Everest being the same. I'm 50% sure on Big Thunder. I'm 25% sure on Space Mountain even being there, which I know might be a hot take, But I think with the Tron coaster being built there, it's kind of like you've got two roller coasters right next to each other with, I don't want to say similar theming, but they're in the same land. It is supposed to have a cohesive theming. Maybe one of them goes.
That's interesting because the proximity of Space Mountain to Tron is incredibly close.
Right. That's
Extremely.
a good point. Hot take, I wouldn't be sad about losing Space Mountain. I know that's probably my most unpopular Disney opinion, is that I don't like Space Mountain. But
I
what it
really
is.
like Space Mountain, I do, but I'm not gonna say I would be extremely sad to see it go.
I'm indifferent. I feel like I like Space Mountain, but I like Space Mountain in the way that, like, it's been around for so long and my entire Disney experience is based off of me, like, knowing that it's there. And it would be
That's a
weird
good
that it's
point.
not there.
I just feel like Space Mountain, putting aside the fact that I don't like it, I just feel like you could close your eyes on any roller coaster and get a similar experience. Put a blindfold on and jump on Tron. It's like you went on Space Mountain.
That's incredibly fair. So question for you guys, because I feel like I don't know the answer to this. Do we know where the entrance to Tron is going to be?
Where Space Mountain
don't
is
know.
right now. They're going to tear it all down.
Well, I'm sending you Google Earth, and I don't think I realized how incredibly close Space Mountain is to Tron. Like, even
I mean, they
seeing
almost
it,
touch.
Yeah.
well, they do, and there's also no good way to get there besides that, like, little pathway that's behind the
secret
speedway. But, like, I can't see them using that.
I don't think they will. I'm wondering if they kind of do away with that little, well, not do away, but kind of convert that into Tomorrowland theming. That little, I don't know what to call it other than like the smoker's pathway from Tomorrowland to Storybook Circus.
Well, so my weird thought here is, like, okay, you put a bridge from Tron to that little section, like, right outside of the speedway, and then Tron's technically in Fantasyland. But
Yeah.
you put a bridge that connects into that section of Tomorrowland, and then you have the issue of it goes over the railroad tracks, which, like, didn't they already shut that down for construction of Tron?
They did.
So I guess that would be telling on where it actually is. If Google Earth would update for me, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be an ordeal dealing with the railroad.
I feel like, I mean, they've already dealt with it, but we just don't know where, and that's the problem. And I feel like that'll be a telling point on if Brian's correct on Space Mountain not being there because of Tron. But I could totally see that. I could totally see them getting rid of it for Tron if Tron has a more classic-y feel to it.
I mean, it's pretty beloved in, what is it, Tokyo? The park that it's in?
Yeah. I'm looking for the entrance to see if they've updated any overhead photos or anything.
Shanghai, just to clarify.
Tomorrowland. Yeah, no, there's no, like, actual... The picture of the Shanghai ride just looks so cool. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just so, like, aesthetically pleasing.
It really is. Like, I don't even care so much if Tron at Disney World is that great of a experience. Just, like, how much better it's going to make Tomorrowland look is going to be worth it.
So I found some concept art of like the Tron building. Now, obviously it's concept art, so that's not grounds enough, but it looks like they're planning to build stuff behind Space Mountain that connects it, but I feel like that's not, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, huh.
Somebody's like out there screaming at their radio because we're missing a very obvious point of Disney news that, I don't know. Anyway, next percentage. We have in here, we have a fifth gate, new water park, or a park will be renamed. All right. This is an easy one. I have 95% a new park will be renamed and 100% that park will be Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yep. I was about to say, I want to change my percentages on these because I have strong opinions.
I'm going to say 50% new water park, 25% fifth gate. And I feel like that's kind of controversial.
I don't feel like that's controversial. That's exactly the percentages I would put.
Well, I feel like a lot of people want a fifth gate, but we're at a point where like the 4 gates we have aren't completed. So Disney's nowhere near that. But of all of their completed parks, the water parks are probably the most complete.
That's true, but at the same time, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that Disney would dump the money into a third water park. And I love the water parks, but I don't know.
Yeah, they don't draw enough crowds probably.
Yeah, I don't think that I would find it more likely that they shut one of them down than they make a third one.
I would agree.
Hey, it doesn't say third water park. It says
new
water
water
park.
I would agree with your point of them shutting one down. However, Volcano Bay did really, really well when it opened, and if we think that Disney doesn't have any of that technology on their radar, that's kind of insane.
Hey, screw the technology. If it ain't river country, I don't want it.
Oh, man. So I agree with you on the percentages. Brian, do you also agree with the consensus, or do you want to switch it up?
I'm going to say that I think it's in 10 years, I would find it more likely that a fifth gate is announced than a new water park is announced.
I mean, I would love that. I just feel like it's less likely, but
it's just...
Let's revisit this in 10 years.
I'm going to
see
say,
if all
I
our
don't think...
predictions came true.
I don't think either one is incredibly likely, but for Disney to dump the money into building a new park, I would most definitely see them building a normal theme park over a water park. That's how I'm thinking of it. I think both of them are probably less than 25% likely, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But if I had to put them in that order, that's what I would say.
Okay.
That's fair. Do you all agree that Hollywood Studios would be getting the name changed?
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. I don't need to change the names of the other ones. You can never change Magic Kingdom. That's like untouchable.
No, they never
Epcot
will.
either. Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
It's Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Hot take, I don't think that Epcot's name is untouchable. I think it's close, but with how they've changed the layout of Epcot and how they're changing like World Showcase and Future World and all of that, and it's not going to be World Showcase and Future World, I think that's a sign that they're not too far off from giving Epcot any sort of like big overhaul and retheme. Plus, as minor as, of a name change as it's gotten before, it has actually gotten name changes, so.
But it was still Epcot.
Yeah.
It was just Epcot Center or Epcot 95 or whatever.
Yeah. But I also think that like them moving in the direction they're moving now, a lot of Epcot is going away. So I don't know. I don't think it's too far off. I think Hollywood Studios is significantly closer.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
out of the 4, I would say Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom are likely to stay at almost 100%. Epcot's more of like a 95% stay, and Hollywood Studios is they're going to change that park, and it's going to be completely different in 10 years. Not even just the name, the whole park itself.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So next one that we have on here, Country Bear Jamboree, Hall of Presidents, and Carousel of Progress will be refurbished or altered slightly. Anybody want to take this one first?
It's what we want to happen or what we think is going to happen.
What
Think
we
is gonna
think is
happen.
going to happen.
I think we could do this one twice. I think we could do refurbished and non-existent.
All right. Well, let's start with refurbished. I'm going to say 95% Hall of Presidents because we'll definitely have a new president in 10 years. So that
That's too
counts as
easy.
a refurbishment, right?
Yeah.
50% Carousel of Progress, 25% Country Bear Jamboree.
I agree with
I
that.
agree. Yeah.
I think that's easy because, like you said, Hall of Presidents is almost guaranteed to change every 4 years. And then Carousel of Progress, like, they kind of have to update the future scene. I mean, I guess they don't
Do they?
have to, but
Because they've been not doing that for quite some time.
yeah, but it's hitting a point now where it's like eventually it's going to be retro future. I mean, it already is kind
is,
of
Yo,
yeah.
I
retro
was about to
Not
say, it hit that
eventually.
point a long time ago.
But I mean, it's going to be so much worse in 10 years if you really think about it. Like, we've already passed that point, but I don't know. In 10 years, it's going to be like dated beyond dated.
But honestly, I think I think they could get away with that and just say like, hey, look, we're kind of keeping the attraction classic. At this point, it's in that middle stage where it's like, this isn't like retro cool and it's very old. So it's just dated.
Yeah, I guess. And then Country Bears, like, of the three, I think that's, I don't know. If it stays, it's not going to get touched.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as much as I love it, I don't think, like, if something is happening to Country Bears, it's getting demolished. And I hate to say that, but I don't think Disney is going to care to dump money into it to make changes to it, which I hate, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So then demolished entirely.
I would like to say 95% for Hall of Presidents because that's what I would prefer.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like it's more likely because nobody loves. When do you ever hear somebody talk about Hall of Presidents being their favorite attraction or like, oh my God, I love Hall of Presidents? Nobody says that. Well, a couple of people in our Discord did say that, but
I was going to say, you've just isolated some of our
I'm
listeners.
sorry, guys. It's just, I just don't see how you can compare it to Carousel of Progress or even Country Bear Jamboree.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Honestly, Hall of Presidents sucks, okay? I'll say it. It sucks. It is an awful, boring attraction. But, yeah. The thing that I don't think that they'll get rid of it for is like twofold. One, I don't really know what else you would put there unless you're
Anything.
I
Put
mean,
anything else.
I agree. I would like to see anything, but I don't know what else Disney's really going to do in a theater there. And the other reason is in kind of tandem with that. If they don't have anything else to put there, I don't think Disney wants to shut it down because it doesn't matter who is the sitting president at the time. They are going to get so much bad flack from one side or the other saying, oh, well, look who was president when they finally decided that they didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think unless something really, really bad happens, it is a very valid point. Now, one thing I will say to that is Hall of Presidents eats up a lot of space in terms of like the size of the building. Now, Carousel of Progress is also decently large, but compare the two to Country Bear Jamboree, and like the obvious answer here is Hall of Presidents, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Listen.
unfortunately, like your argument for Hall of Presidents, Country Bear Jamboree holds just enough space for a show theater attraction.
Listen,
And I don't-
I have a concept for Disney. It's not going to cost them any extra money. They take everything out of Hall of Presidents and they just put the Voices of Liberty in there. Because I feel
Or-
like the crowd for Voices of Liberty is usually about the same as Hall of Presidents anyway.
Hear me out. You know those buildings that they just, refurbished and put windows up in there for the Muppets? Just take all of this stuff over there and move it to Hall of Presidents.
Yeah.
They don't even need a fancy stage. The Muppets never needed a fancy stage.
I would
Right.
be into it.
Honestly, they could just gut Hall of Presidents, leave it the same way, and put people with Muppets back there, and I'd be sold.
Honestly, they could just gut it and make it into a restaurant, and I think it would be better.
Well, so the question of that is you have, I think a restaurant is out specifically because Harbor House is nearby, and you also have
Liberty
there's
Tree
two.
Tavern. I know,
Yeah.
Mario. I'm just saying it would be better than Hall of Presidents. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
That's fair. I'm just saying there's too many things in close proximity. I don't.
Or
but-
they could make it a Haunted Mansion themed restaurant and put all those other restaurants out of business.
I mean, that's fair, but I think that Hall of Presidents has a lot more space than we think it does because I'm gonna snip this just so you guys can see. Like I have Google Maps up now because I was looking at that other Tron thing, and now I'm looking at the size of Hall of Presidents, and it's pretty big. You could fit a lot in there.
It is. It's definitely, when you look at it from overhead, bigger than you'd probably think.
Now, I wonder if some of that is like the Harbor House kitchen is connected in there, or like what is actually in that building. It
It
has
does
to
kind of
be.
smell like fish sometimes. I'm just
But
kidding.
look, it's bigger than Haunted Mansion.
Right. Honestly, for size, it's bigger than the castle twice over.
Yeah, the footprint for sure. Huh.
But that's where I think my percentage is most likely based out of. I think Carousel of Progress is probably my 50%, almost 95% for Hall of Presidents, and then 25% for Country Bears, just because of the footprint size alone.
I think I'd agree with that.
So, did you guys want to throw any others in the mix? This actually went on a lot longer than I thought it would, so I feel like we could probably just do the one and be okay with that for tonight.
Yeah, I'm good.
Um,
I'm just scrolling around Google Maps now.
That's my favorite. I'm sure we can come up with a couple others just so we have it padded out for time.
You know what's so weird? Sorry, I know I'm jumping
good.
aside, but if you look at Google Maps of the Magic Kingdom, the attractions that it chooses to drop pins on is very odd. Mm-hmm. You got some of the big ones, but then we got a pirate's adventure gets a pin.
I think
then,
your pins
Rivers
are
of America.
your pins are totally different than mine because I have no big ones here. I have Meet Mickey and Minnie at Town Square Theater. I mean, Magic Kingdom Park is a big one, but I have Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Hall of Presidents, Fantasyland, Prince Charming's Regal Carousel, and Castle Stage. Those are my pins.
That's weird. I wonder why it's giving us different ones.
Mine is also giving me numbers. It's just I'm about to send a screenshot.
That's just looking at the park map.
It's just it gave me this. I was just looking in Liberty Square. Oh my gosh. Sorry, this Microsoft photo thing where you try to crop it is so bad. You have to do it very slow.
You don't just have snipping tool?
Well, I had to I was gonna use this the browser screenshot thing I have, but I wanted to highlight it with the cursor. So
You can do that in
okay.
a snipping tool.
Anyway, I'm sending this now so you guys can see that it gave me the suggestion of 13 Florida.
13 Florida. Oh,
Ah.
nice. My
It's an
favorite
attraction I didn't know Magic Kingdom had.
Oh. While we're doing percentages of rides that we think will still be there, we should do percentages of lands we think will still be there in each park. I think that would be interesting.
95% Fantasyland.
Yeah, I mean, that's like half of Magic Kingdom. You'd have to retheme.
I would say I'm 25% on Tomorrowland because I feel like that's got a retheme coming up relatively soon.
This
50?
is probably cheating, but Tom Sawyer Island, does that count as a land?
Isn't that technically part of Frontierland or Adventureland?
I would think it's technically part of Frontierland, but...
Yeah, it says here, Frontierland's Twain-inspired setting.
I like that Tom Sawyer Island is listed as a photo spot, but also on my Google Maps, it shows me where the restrooms are for whatever reason.
I mean, if you make it over there, you need to know. They are temporarily closed according to my map, though. I
can also do a walkthrough of Tom Sawyer Island on Google Maps.
Oh, man.
If anybody was really wanting to, visit Tom Sawyer Island, apparently that's fully on Google Maps.
I won't lie. There have been days that I was missing the parks, and I just went on Google Street View and just walked around.
Yep, same.
Thanks to whoever out there did this for us.
But land-wise, I think 25% Tomorrowland. I think 50% Frontierland. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then I think 95%. I don't know. Because I feel like overhauling, there's not a lot of places that are going to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom, I don't see a whole lot happening.
I mean, I see Tomorrowland like it's there.
I mean, the last big thing they did was expand Fantasyland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't make a new land, they didn't retheme a land, they just added more to it.
Here's what's coming. They're going to expand Frontierland next.
I mean, they could make a whole Princess and the Frog section. I'd be totally fine with that. I mean, they got to do something with the Briar Patch, too, right?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Here's a hot take. I see within the next 10 to 15 years, along with an expansion happening, that Disneyland Railroad gets shut down completely so that they can kind of expand out past it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I know they've done in a couple places, but like with Tron, but still, like looking at Frontierland, there's a lot of space over there that they could add stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid 95%. Like, there's no way that doesn't happen. And even if, maybe this is kind of a hot take too, I feel like in the next couple years, if Tom Sawyer Island is still around, it's going to be cut down, and that river in the back where like Rivers of America is, that's going to get some kind of expansion to like put something back that way.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do some Hollywood studio stuff because I love ripping this park apart.
Oh boy.
What do you think about in the next 10 years major additions to Galaxy's Edge? 95, 50, 25%.
I think it's hugely possible. I'd say 95 because I think they're going to try to start incorporating Mandalorian stuff and all the other series that are coming out. I think they're going to try to tie that lore into the land.
I'm going to say, I think 50. I like your thought, but I think that them trying to keep Galaxy's Edge as its own little contained lore is... I think that's where they're going to stay with it.
Okay.
What about you, Beth?
Well, speaking of that, I wish that they would incorporate the lore of Galaxy's Edge more. Most guests have no clue anything about it. Other than sometimes you see Rey, and sometimes you see Chewbacca, and sometimes you see Kylo Ren.
And sometimes you see that girl that nobody knows who she is.
And sometimes you see Vi Maradi, who nobody knows who she is because they literally just wrote a book about it and didn't market it at all and threw her into a park. That poor girl... I have a friend who is a friend of a stormtrooper and has said that that girl, Vi Maradi is the character's name. Look her up. It's actually a pretty good book. Gets so sad sometimes because people would ask her to take photos of them
Oh,
with
no.
other characters
Oh,
because
that's rough.
they didn't know she was a thing, like a part of the land.
Can you imagine how exciting it must be to find out that you're going to get to be a character actor at Disney?
A
And then
new
nobody knows
character
who you
actor,
are.
a character actor that no one knows of yet, like something new
Disney-
and exciting, and then nobody
Disney sh-
knows still.
Disney shoots himself in the foot with these kind of things all the time. Like that concept of having a new character exclusive to that land and is only, like, you know, in the lore based off of like things that you would find in the land or like a single book is such a cool concept. But like, they did it and went, well, why bother? Because nobody cares enough anyway.
It's like, and people don't care because you didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch 22.
Yeah. So staying in Hollywood studios, Fantasmic still around in the next 10 years? Gotta rip Beth's heart out a little bit like this.
I don't want to think about it because I don't like the answer that my heart is telling me.
I don't think so. It's getting a little long in the tooth now.
I like it. I like it. I don't want it to leave.
I'm 50%. I think it's a classic enough in its own right that it's got a little bit of staying power. I mean, Beauty and the Beast live on stage is like right next door to it, and they haven't touched that in how long?
I mean, it's closed now, though.
Yeah, but if they bring it back, I would not be surprised.
I really hope they use this as an excuse not to bring it back. Put something new in there. Do something else.
R.I.P. Blanket.
R.I.P. blanket.
Just update the effects. Give us like a smoke screen. Bring it
Do
at least
that
into
thing.
the 90s.
Do that thing they did on the new Beauty and the Beast ride, but do it on the stage instead.
You know, I would honestly be so disappointed if they brought that entire show back and only replaced the blanket with the smoke screen.
Oh my gosh. That infamous blanket. I would say 50% for Fantasmic, though. I like to think that it has a little bit of staying power, but not as much as I want it to.
Yeah, I think 50% feels right. Ooh, here's another good one. Did you give an answer for that one, Brian?
Percentage just of Fantasmic.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I'd be pretty close to 95 on that one.
Ooh.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Here's an interesting one that I just thought of that is kind of like, it's wonky to say this, but I think in the next 10 years, Hollywood Studios is going to have a completely different entrance. Not necessarily just like location-wise, but I think everything in that main strip leading up to the Chinese theater is going to be completely changed.
I agree with that. Especially if it gets a new name and they are trying to do a re-theme. They're not going to want to try to have the first thing you see in the park not coincide with the new theme.
Which is funny because, like, if they kept it with the whole step inside the movies thing, it quite literally would still be, you know, it would fit.
Yeah.
So where do you think the entrance would be?
I think it'll be in the same spot, but I think it'll be, the
You
problem
just
that
think
I
it would
have-
be a different entrance experience?
Yeah, I think it would be a
Okay.
completely different entrance experience. I think right now when you enter Hollywood Studios, it's there's a very
It's
obvious,
a very underwhelming Main Street USA.
well that, and it feels like there's a very obvious path through the park, and I feel like that's not necessarily what every other park has. Like Hollywood Studios is pretty much straight back, and then like you pick, you know, or am I going to go to Tower of Terror first or last? And then you do the whole rest of the park.
That's really accurate.
Like, well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, everybody has their path through Magic Kingdom, but you could literally go into the park, walk up to the castle, and say, okay, I could go to any ride. Hollywood Studios, it's like there is an actual route through that park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have always kind of been annoyed at the fact that you have to take that road all the way down to Tower of Terror, and then you have to take it all the way back to get out. It's not very... it doesn't have that nice hub, like, architecture that the Magic Kingdom does.
And if you think about it, like, every other park kind of has that. I mean, Epcot doesn't as much, but I guess even giving Epcot the benefit of the doubt, it's got the entrance point to World Showcase, whatever that bridge is called, I always forget. And that kind of acts as the hub, too. But Animal Kingdom is laid out almost basically the same as Magic Kingdom. It's just a little bit harder to navigate.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, at this point, they can't really do a hub structure or anything really even close to that Hollywood Studios, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. That park is just so weirdly laid out to begin with.
Yeah, bless its heart.
Odds on Hollywood Studios getting completely demolished.
0%.
Dump too much money into it now.
Yeah.
I would have said before Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, like, a solid 50%.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at that point, I think the only two major attractions that people were going to get upset over are Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. And yeah, they could rip those down and just build a new park from the ground up. But now there's too much.
I don't know. I'm indifferent because I feel like there's enough in Hollywood. Like, people care about, Galaxy's Edge as a whole. I feel like Galaxy's Edge really does need to be taken as a whole, though. If they were to pull out Smuggler's Run, there may be a handful of people that would be upset, but I feel like it would be like, okay, yeah, they're probably going to put something better in. Rise of the Resistance, I feel like that would probably have a little more outrage, but overall, it's just... If that whole land went, that would be, bad.
Honestly, I think that would have been Disney's opportunity to do a fifth park. Would have just been to do a completely Star Wars park. Have a couple more rides when they open and just kind of slowly build it over time. Because as of right now, I mean we've talked ad nauseum about how they're never going to be able to blend the themes of Hollywood Studios together accurately now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about anything in Animal Kingdom? Because I feel like we've kind of dissed on Hollywood Studios a lot.
You said it yourself, Mario. You love tearing that park apart.
I
It's
do,
too easy.
but it really is.
All right. Let's go to Animal Kingdom.
All right, Beth, what do you got?
Let's see. All right. Dinosaur. Cali River Rapids. And It's Tough to Be a Bug.
25% River Rapids.
That it's going to be gone or
Yes.
get replaced?
Yeah, I feel like 25% chance of being replaced. It's Tough to Be a Bug is 50 and Dinosaur 95.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Cali River Rapids, you really can't do anything else other than a River Rapids ride there.
Mm-hmm.
So that 25% makes sense.
But I also feel like same argument for It's Tough to Be a Bug. There's not a lot you can do in there.
Yeah, that's also true.
And then Dinosaur, I'm calling it. Dinoland is gone in the next couple of years.
Couple.
Couple.
Ooh. All you Chester and Hester's haters out there. All right, so how about instead of doing what we think, do what we wish on those three?
What we wish? Easy. 95, it's tough to be a bug. Like, that needs to go. Dinosaur 50, Cali River Rapids 25.
Honestly, I don't dislike Cali River Rapids. So, but I ride it so infrequently, it would have almost zero effect on me if it went away.
Yeah.
It's fun, don't get me wrong, but I hate walking around wet afterwards. And you don't know, is it going to be me or is it going to be the person across from me?
Yeah. Honestly, like for me to ride it, it has to be during a trip when I'm staying at the parks. It's the last ride of the day, and there's not a long wait. So, like, all three of those things have to coincide for me to get on Cali River Rapids.
Alternatively,
Cali River Rapids.
if it has already been raining and I forgot my umbrella, which is what happened a couple of times that I've rode Cali River Rapids, and I'm already wet, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I feel like you could just go ride Everest and dry off after. Like, it's basically
I hate being wet
It's fair.
and not in a pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Side note, again, because that's all this episode has become tangents.
Just call this side note episode.
Does your Google Maps show you, like, descriptions of things?
Yes.
Because the description under Tree of Life, for me, is just 300 animals carved into a huge tree.
Yep.
Which is like, I mean, that's it. That's dead on.
Yeah.
It also says it's tough to be a bug is educational 3D and 4D insect movie and show, which I would argue on the educational aspect.
It's kind of
fair.
educational. I learned that bugs outnumber humans like 1,000,000 to 1.
Wow.
That was my takeaway.
That was,
It's kind of terrifying if you think about it like that, though.
oh. What do you guys think the percentage of Pandora getting a new attraction is? I think solid 95.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think, is there room?
I think so.
Depends. I think it depends on where you place it at. If you look at the map, they could probably put something at the start of Pandora, but I don't really know
Yeah.
what they would put there. It would have to be a small show or an attraction.
You know what really messes me up? Here's another side note. Looking at Google Maps is just realizing how close to the real world everything is. Like, Navi restrooms is literally like a parking lot, but you can't see any of, like, it's in a parking lot basically,
Yeah.
but you can't see it from the front, like, as a guest.
And
There's like cars parked directly behind it.
that throws me off in the sense of, like, if I'm trying to find something, I can't because I see this massive parking lot and I'm like, where is it? And I'm looking right next to it. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Percentage on if in 10 years Disney will still have their partnership with Rainforest Cafe.
God, I hope not.
I'm solid 50. I think, I don't know.
Rainforest Cafe is so overpriced and mediocre, but it makes them so much money. I don't think that it'll be going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, we said that about Pop Warner, and look at where where we ended up with that one.
I was told that the Rainforest Cafe at Disney Springs is the second busiest restaurant on average in the country. And
What's
it's
the
second
first?
only to T-Rex across the way.
In the country, I'm not sure I believe that. But in Disney World, I can definitely buy that. And I also think it's telling that they have 2 locations for Rainforest Cafe because one of them would have shut down if they weren't profitable. But, God, I really hate the Rainforest Cafe at the front of Animal Kingdom.
Damn it, you make good points.
I just want the one in Animal Kingdom to go away. That one can't be that busy, can it be? Like,
I don't
It shouldn't
understand
be.
why you would eat at Rainforest Cafe when you're at a Disney park, when you can eat somewhere else. Like, I could kind of get it at Disney Springs. You didn't pay money to go there. But if you're at Animal Kingdom, I mean, I guess you don't technically have to pay to go in Rainforest Cafe. You just have to pay to go in the park afterwards. But, like, there's just so many better options and more, like, interesting options at Animal Kingdom.
see, okay, I agree with that, yes. But I see why it's there because of where it is. You have that end of the day, kids are tired, parents want somewhere to eat, Rainforest Cafe is on the way out. It's right there. It's almost at the bus stop. It's kind of the, like, the trap of it being there. But I also think that for a while there wasn't a lot in Animal Kingdom that was worth sitting down at, like, at least to the average guest. Like, there's always been kind of like little tucked away pieces, but if the choice was to pop up between like Pizza Safari, Animal Kingdom, or not Animal Kingdom, Rainforest Cafe, and then the, like, whatever the place is to eat at Chester and Hester's.
Restaurantosaurus.
Yes, thank you. The place that I don't eat at.
Lovingly referred to as Resto in many cases.
But if you think about it, though, like, if you're at that point in the park, there's nothing else to really stop at unless you're going to turn around and go back to one of those places until, like, some of the more recent stuff has popped up. Rainforest Cafe kind of makes sense for, like, the
Basic
target
bitches.
Disney. Well, yeah, I was going to say the target Disney demographic, but same thing, I guess.
Is that Disney's target demographic?
Yes. It's certainly Rainforest Cafe's target demographic.
You mean you don't like that creepy tree in the lobby?
The one at Animal Kingdom? I've never been at the one at Animal Kingdom. Does it look the same as the one at Disney Springs?
It's been years since I've been there, but the tree is in Disney Springs gets me every time.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who has sat at the bar in the Rainforest Cafe at Disney Springs for hours before, it gets old real fast to have a thunderstorm every 15 minutes. The gorillas being every 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, there's lots of... I've never noticed this tree before.
I'm going to make that tree my Discord profile picture.
That's horrifying.
I'm pretty sure it's in, like, most of them.
What is the
Ooh, yeah,
name
I don't
tag?
like that.
I'm Tracy Tree. Its name tag says, "Hi, I'm Tracy Tree." Wow, I do
Goodness
not like
gracious.
Tracy.
Oh, here's a better photo.
Nope.
No.
Nope. That one's worse.
That is not even the same tree.
I think they.
Well, yeah,
it's
look at
just
the
kind
name
of-
tags. Aren't they? No, that is Tracy.
No, that
Trees
says
too.
Tracy.
That's the one in Animal
Tracy
Kingdom.
got some plastic surgery done.
That's like Tracy's Instagram post versus the one she's tagged in.
Oh my god. Okay, does it move or does its face just permanently stay that creepy?
I have no
Listen,
idea.
Mario, I'm really upset that you showed me this because I'm going to be haunted by it.
I don't want it to move though. Like it's bad enough stationary.
How have I never noticed this god awful?
Because you don't go to Rainforest.
No, I go to Rainforest all the time at Disney Springs because my best friend
Oh,
works
right.
there. But I've never been to the one at
Right,
Animal
right.
Kingdom, and I've never noticed Tracy at the one at Disney Springs.
You're gonna have to ask your friend about it. Just
I'm
be
going
like,
to. I'm going to ask
So what's
him
the
about
deal with Tracy?
Please, does Tracy have a backstory? I need to know why she looks so haunted.
You want to talk about? You want to talk about really throwing you off with Google Maps? Me not driving to Disney, looking at Google Maps, you don't realize how many things are like very close to the parks. I scrolled over about 2 feet and there was a Outback, a Carrabba's, and a Chick-fil-A.
That that backside, like where you come in to Disney Springs or leave out, I guess I should say. Like as a kid, me and my family used to hit up those restaurants all the time.
Oh yeah, you're talking about where that Uno is and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Where
Oh,
Uno, and then I forget the Mexican restaurant that's over there. There's another one. And
Taco Bell.
No. It was
There
like
is
an
a Taco
actual
Bell back
Mexican.
there, though.
Oh yeah,
That's
we
like, I
have
have
eaten at the
frequented
Taco
that Taco
Bell.
Bell.
I have been to that Taco Bell many times.
Well, I'm going to say it's probably safe to wrap this up because we're well over an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
So that's probably post-show.
You don't think our listeners deserve to know about Tracy the Tree?
Tracy Tree can stay.
We
I'm
got
going to say...
Tracy the Tree Mexican restaurants, basic bitches. They're getting all kind of stuff this week.
This is a hot mess of a show.